So your guys' 90% actually is under spot right now.
Right now. Not way under, but it's under.
Buy your gold and silver online from SD Bullion. New customers get gold or silver at spot by visiting sdbullion.com/new.
I'm looking here at the showcase and there is 0 gold. What happened, Harry?
Well, people are buying on the dips. I mean, gold's down about $300 plus since its recent week's high. And even though it's still at a very high level, people regard that as a bargain. And so it's gone as fast as we buy it.
Seems like people are buying a lot of the silver as well. I mean, we don't have all of the trays in the showcase right here. Is that going on?
Yeah, without a doubt, silver's moving just as fast as gold. And in particular, silver rounds and maples. Can't get any maples. Can't keep them if we get them. And maybe it's because we've talked about maples being a real positive form of bullion. I think it is, but nonetheless, buffaloes and maples are very, very popular.
Do you think it's because the premiums on silver eagles went up?
Yeah, eagles are still, I think the premiums are a bit ridiculous right now, but it's reflective of the lack of inventory at the US Mint, because I think we've discussed this earlier. They've stopped making the 2025s and are gearing up for the 2026s, and therefore there's a bit of a gap in there in supply. There's a run-up of premiums, to be sure. It's costing us more. It's going to cost the consumer more.
So you got silver eagles at 55.50, and other government ounces only 52. So yeah, if people want coins, it makes sense they'd be going for something like a maple leaf.
Yeah, and you know, that's about $8 over spot this morning, and I just lowered it 50 cents. So it's eagles are very expensive now.
What about the junk silver?
Junk silver is still a bargain compared to eagles, to be sure, but even as compared with silver rounds, I think it rivals that in terms of being inexpensive. And we're doing okay with moving 90% junk silver, if you will, but it's not as popular as the rounds, at least not here.
Do you think that's because some of the refiners are still refusing to buy less than pure silver?
I think that has something to do with it, although the people that buy here are typically not looking to flip it quickly to a refiner. But the word out there is negative in terms of 90% being liquid. There's a lot of shops not even buying it right now because there's nowhere for us as shops to go with it other than at the retail level.
Yeah, so if people are looking for an exit strategy down the road, they're saying, okay, if I get pure silver, like silver rounds or coins, I'm going to be able to sell those pretty easily. So maybe that's why they're leaning more towards those things.
Yeah, with an eye towards the future and, you know, not letting this happen to them again where they have difficulty selling it. Although I must say we're still buying it, but I know others aren't.
Yeah, I noticed on your pricing you went back to the old app, the Kitco.
Yes, because the Kitco and the Comex equalized again, which means the wholesalers and refiners are using Kitco again. You know, for a while there was almost a $2 difference between the Kitco and the Comex price, but right now they're pretty much equalized. And it's a much better app to work with than the Comex, so I'm glad to have it back.
Well, I can see metals are taking a dip today. Gold is down about 40 bucks. It's under 4,000. Silver's down 61 cents. So we're in the $47 range for silver. You think metals are going to sort of hold, or are they going to keep dropping?
I don't know, but I will say that even though we're talking about bargain prices, I guess, as compared with recent weeks, they're still at very, very high levels. And so nobody's giving it away. But if you were waiting for a dip, this is one of them.
Yeah, it seems interesting, though, that they did lower rates and they might be lowering rates again, but the dollar is still strong. It's kind of weird.
The dollars we were just discussing is at a 6-month high, which is certainly giving downward pressure to gold in particular. They typically run in the opposite directions.
I will say this, though, at the start of the year, I did not anticipate gold going to 4,000, silver going to 50, so this is all just gravy.
No, but we did discuss 40 as a real possibility, and that more than happened. So we're still holding at a very high level.
Yeah, and one thing to remember too, it's silver and gold, it's not good for them to go up in a straight line. So these dips are good for it, and I think we're past the correction, and it's come down over $300 as we were talking, but like Harry was saying, it's a good time to buy if you've been waiting, because we hit what 4,300 and change, and now we're sitting right below 4,000. So if you were thinking of getting in, it might be something to consider.
It hit a high, then it hit a dip, and you keep buying, and you're just going to flatten out your cost and dollar cost average it out, just like you would with stocks.
Well, yeah, and you can now buy silver under $50 an ounce again, which
Yes.
is big news.
Yeah, as long as you don't want eagles.
Yeah. So we got rounds at 49, and you do actually have some in stock.
Thankfully, people have been selling to us. The wholesalers are still back ordered on a lot of this stuff 1 to 2 weeks, even on Buffalo rounds. So it's been a challenge to keep it in stock, but we have a nice equilibrium going here where we're buying and selling at about the same rate.
So would you say if people are buying and selling pure silver, you anticipate that to still be liquid moving forward? No issues with that?
I don't think so. I must say though, one of the large wholesalers stopped buying 3/9 silver at their local stations, if you will. You had to have it sent to the main office, which instead of getting paid that day, as most of us are, and we're used to that, we were having to wait a week or two to be paid. But they've gone back. With the exception of 1 ounce bars, they're buying 3/9 silver again.
So things are somewhat normalizing.
Somewhat, but sterling silver and any alloyed silver coins is still a big problem as to what to do with it.
Well, let me ask you this. I know a lot of coin shops across the nation are not buying any sterling silver, but you guys still are. Have you had people sending you stuff from other places?
Yeah, when you arrived this morning on the back table here, I was unpacking a big collection that got sent to us, and included in that collection was a whole tray of flatware. So yeah, they're still sending it. And I'm reluctant to say we don't buy it because this is a temporary situation and people will remember if we didn't buy.
So you guys are going to keep buying?
That's the plan.
Adrian, I wanted to ask you, we didn't see in the last video because you were at a coin show, right?
Yes, yeah, I was out in, went to a show in Arizona, and then I was at one in Irvine.
What's the kind of vibe out there on the street? Are people, worried about the junk silver not being able to be sold, or has that not really come up very much?
Some people are just flat out aren't buying it, especially at the show. I did hear a couple people saying, "Oh yeah, we're not buying it," and one of the guys was like, "Hey, do you want some?" And I bought some of it, but it's some people, just like Harry said, they're just turning it away. But luckily we built connections and a good network that we got places to go with pretty much everything still. So it gives us a good opportunity to still be able to buy from people.
Yeah, I think this is a temporary thing, and I think that people should actually be taking advantage of this and probably picking up junk silver right now, because it seems like it's less desired, but I don't think that's going to be the case moving forward.
Yeah, exactly. I think you make a great point, because if you've been looking to stack 90% silver, or even the sterling silver that most shops aren't buying, or if they're buying it, they have nowhere to go with it. Maybe talk to your local coin shops and be like, "Hey, do you have any of that silver that's not moving for you? If you're looking to put it away, and you might be able to get yourself a great deal." It's definitely a good time to buy it.
Well, the idea is that the refiners are just backed up, but that's not going to be the case forever.
No. I think I talked to one refiner, and he said that he's thinking about beginning of the year is when things should open up to where they're buying it regularly again. It'll be interesting to see what happens, because 90% it was carrying a pretty good premium. And now that the refiners stopped buying it, it just kind of halted everything, and the premiums just fell.
So a lot of places you can get it really close to spot.
Under spot.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We're at 47.55. Well, 4 cents under spot. So very much a bargain right now.
So your guys' 90% actually is under spot right now.
Right now. Not way under, but it's under.
Yeah, I think this is a good time to be picking up this stuff, because the other thing too is they can't make any more of it. I mean, they stopped making all of this in 1965, so there's never going to be more. A lot of it's getting melted. I think it's an opportunity.
I think so too, and I think also that people should always take a long-term view of these sorts of investments, so that you're not worried about what it's going to do this month or maybe even next month, but you're buying for an eye towards well into the future. This is just a rough spot we've hit with alloyed metals, but nonetheless, we're still buying, and there is a liquid market for it, but it's just got to get past the glut that's over at the refiners. One thing that concerns me though is if you think about them not buying, say, for 3 months, if it goes through the end of the year, the dealers that are still buying, this stuff's piling up. And so once they get out from under the glut, what's to keep it from jamming up right away again when we all flood them with inventory again? I'm not sure we're out of the woods quite yet.
Right, but if you were looking to hold this for 10 years or 20
It
years,
makes no difference.
it's a massive opportunity.
Nothing really matters with that sort of long-term view in terms of what's negative today.
If I may add something too, I know there's been a lot of people that have bought, with gold being at 4,300 and silver being at $54 an ounce. If you did buy at that high, don't feel bad, and don't feel like, oh man, like I screwed up, or I don't want you to feel defeated, because silver and gold, they go up and they go down. And I would say just hold on to your stuff. Don't sell. Don't panic sell. Don't get discouraged. And I would say stay in there, and it's something that will eventually go back up.
And if you are dollar cost averaging with these little dips we've been having, this is a great opportunity to even buy more.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. So if you cost average, I mean, you're going to if you buy now and you bought at 54, I mean, you'll come down to that midpoint if you average it out through your stack. So don't get discouraged. I know there's some people that might have bought at the highs, but I've done it before when it was $20-something an ounce, and then it dropped to $14 or something, and now we're over 47. So don't get discouraged. I would say just keep stacking, like we say, and it'll all work out.
Well, not only will it work out, but if you have a plan that, say, a monthly purchase or whatever your time frame is, if you bought at 52, now you can buy at 47 or 48. You already lowered what you bought before by $2 an ounce, and that's the wisdom of dollar cost averaging, and the wisdom of staying with your plan and not freaking out. If you have a plan, work it. If you don't have a plan, make one.
Well, I mean, technically, from the high that silver hit, it's down like almost $7 right now.
That's called a correction. There was profit taking too. I mean, even small increments that we think maybe $1 or $2 on 10,000 ounce contracts, you can make a lot of money by selling even on $1 dip. It's very self-serving to say keep buying, but I'm just saying you don't have to keep buying from us, but keep buying if that's what your plan is.
Well, and I think too, when we look at the big picture, I mean, the central banks are still buying massive amounts of gold. Yeah. There's not world peace. They still want to keep lowering rates here. So I think all of these things are bullish for metals. And I don't know, I kind of think they're going to level out here. They're going to build a base, and then who knows where they could go.
And nobody knows.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Remember the cycles of the metals. Towards the end of the year in the fourth quarter, metals usually tend to dip. And beginning of the year is when you start seeing the prices start to climb again. So, I mean, remember, we're still $47 silver and $3,970 gold. So it's still a good year for the metals. And again, I think this is just a correction, and I personally think that we'll see those gains back.
And I can't tell you how many people told Adrian and I a year or so ago, I'm not buying gold at 2,000. I'll wait till it goes back down. Well, that wasn't the high, was it? And if they had bought that day or those days when they said they weren't buying at 2,000, they would have doubled their money already. So don't try to time the market. It's an impossibility.
Yeah.
All this talk about profit and loss and what the price of metals is, it causes us to lose sight of the joy of the hobby. And I got a reminder early this morning about what the hobby can mean to a person. 7:20 this morning, a UPS driver came up to deliver a package, which was very unusual that time of day. And it was a woman just a few years younger than me, in her early 60s, and got to talking about how she would collect wheat cents and state quarters with her father, and had a memory of her father who died in his 90s recently, and she started to cry. And she talked about how precious to her state quarters were. State quarters, most of us turn our nose up at it because we're sick of looking at them. But the truth is, any coin, depending on what the story is attached to it and the love for the person who got you into it, can bring great emotion. And that emotion has nothing to do with the price of gold and silver. This is, after all, still a hobby. And that hobby brings great joy. But the point is, it's not all about the price of gold and silver, especially if you're a true collector. This woman was, and she's never going to part with her state quarters because they're precious to her. Let's try to remember that as we're sweating over the price of the metals. It's still a hobby. try to have some fun with it.
It can be precious for more than one reason.
Absolutely.
Well, we are living in interesting times, and as always, Harry, I really appreciate everything.
Always a pleasure, Silver Dragons.
Thanks so much, Adrian.
Keep stacking, guys.